Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 157.
Starting to get to cold hand weather. I'm going to have to keep one in my pocket and keep switching them over. I might need gloves soon. God, that's sad. Okay, we're going to talk about something that I posted a reel about yesterday. And it is... I'll tell you what it is first, then I'll tell you the proper name for it. So, something that I'm getting really into at the moment is finding out the proper psychological terms for things that I already know about, like things that I've coached people with for years, behaviours that people have. I'm trying to find out, like, what is the proper term for this? Because it's just interesting to know. So, do you know what? I won't tell you the term first. I'll explain it first, then tell you the term. I think that's the best way to do it. So if we think about a person who is going out on a Saturday night and they know they're going to be hungover on Sunday, they know that they're going to be tired next week, they know that they're going to feel horrible and anxious and they're going to eat lots and they're going to order takeaways and they're not going to get any housework done and they're not going to go to the gym and they're not going to do loads of stuff. But they don't think about that too much. What they think about is the fun that they're going to have on Saturday night. So this is where we kind of value the kind of short-term thing first, because it's the quicker, immediate reward over the long-term impact. And this is called temporal discounting. So it's where we value the smaller, faster, quicker thing over the larger, later benefit. I'll give you an example. I used to work with this guy who was obsessed with money. Not because he was loaded or anything, it was just because he counted where every penny went. He was very tight, if you know what that term means. Very shrewd with money. And yeah, he went on about it a lot. He counted every penny. All the overtime that he did, he could calculate to the penny what his overtime would be with the tax taken off it, all this stuff. And somebody used to say, he's the kind of guy that would take... You could say to him, I'll give you £1,000 now, or I'll give you £2,000 in 12 months' time. And he'll go, no, give me the £1,000 now. That kind of guy. Temporal discounting. Valuing the immediate reward. No, I want £1,000 right. I don't want £2,000 in 12 months. I want £1,000 right now. Even though the reward later would be a bigger, larger benefit, all you have to do is wait for it. No. 12 months is too long. I want it right now. I guess people do this a lot when it comes to dieting, actually. This has just struck me where people, if it's happening right now, people are doing it with weight loss injections. Like, doesn't matter what they know and what they understand. God, I am working with people who are on medications and know that it's not the answer. Like, they're on the medication and anxious about it. I'm taking this medication, I was just so desperate, I've bought it now, I've got this much of a supply, I'm taking it and it's working, but I'm so worried that it's not going to stick, that I'm going to put all the weight back on. And I'm like, well, yeah, you should be, because all the research says that you are going to put the weight back on. But the good news is, you're aware of it. Most people aren't. And that's the difference. There's loads of people taking the medications who aren't worried about what happens at the end, because they're treating it like another yo-yo diet. They're doing the diet thing with absolutely no plans on how they're going to maintain their weight, other than just crossing their fingers and hoping that it sticks this time. Which it won't. I wish it did. It just doesn't work like that, sadly. They've not invented a medication yet where you don't have to take it and still get the benefits. So yeah, temporal discounting in that instance. I don't care that I'm going to put the weight on. All I want to do is get the ball rolling and get the scales coming down. That's all I need to be happy. And I get it, like, it comes from a place of frustration, it comes from a place of fatigue and exhaustion. You've spent years and years dieting. You know how much effort it is to try and get the scales moving. You know from past experiences that, you know, you have to get yourself in that zone. Like, you just wait. So many people manage their weight like this. They try and try and try and try and try constantly, and they can't do it. They start the day with the best of intentions. They start the week with the best of intentions. Start the month or the year with the best of intentions. And their strategy to losing weight is hoping that they'll start and something will magically click and they'll keep going. And again, it doesn't work like that. You know, if that same approach hasn't worked in the past, it's going to work like every 1 in 20 times. Something will click, but it's not going to be because something magical's happened. It's going to be because you've done something slightly different. You're still using a shitty approach, but you did something that was maybe mildly steeped in something beneficial. Maybe you thought about the future. Maybe a family member went through a health scare and it made you take something a little more seriously. Maybe you had a moment at a soft play where you thought you were going to get stuck, and that was like a little, Jesus Christ, I need to do something about this weight type moment. And it made you push that little bit harder, and you got past those first few weeks, and you did get in the zone, but ultimately, you didn't do anything else. That soft play moment became a distant memory. You lost half a stone. You went back to that soft play and fit through that. I've totally made this soft play thing up here, by the way. I've never heard anyone getting stuck at a soft play, though I imagine it has happened. You know, you go back and you fit through that thing easily and you're like, yep, I've cracked it. Now I can go back to normal. But this, you know, I want the results now. I don't care what happened. And this, I think this is why the yo-yo diet industry will never go away. It's here forever. People are only getting larger. Food is only becoming higher in calories. Meals are getting ridiculous. Oh, I'm going to complain about something. I saw a guy on Instagram last night with a video, a personal trainer, just a personal trainer. No, nothing, you know, different, just blending into a sea of personal trainers. A guy taking pictures with his shirt off. I'm taking on 10 guys for 8 weeks. DM me for results. You can look just like me, just like every other personal trainer, or most of them. The difference was this guy did eating challenges. And you look at his Instagram, he had about 30,000 followers. Instagram Reels are getting 400, 500, couple of thousand views. And then he had this one at 2.2 million. Now, do you know what happens here? When somebody cracks the code and finds out something that gets millions of views, they keep doing it. And so, pinned at the top of his profile was, my 25,000 calories in a day challenge. Yes, you heard that right. 25,000 calories. Started the day with 2 full boxes of Crave cereal. And it just went on from there. 25,000. And you know what's interesting? One of his videos that had about 400 views was him talking about body dysmorphia, disordered eating. So, no, social media. So that was it. It started off, social media is toxic. It's encouraging body dysmorphia and disordered eating. And then there's him at the top of his profile, recording him eating 25,000 calories. And then being a dick to everyone in the comments that asked about it. Oh. His bio said, making fitness great again as well. What a tragedy. Anyway. That was my thing I wanted to complain about. I don't know how it linked into what I was talking about or why I thought about it or remembered it. So, it's, first of all, understand that this is a perfectly normal human behaviour. You know, I could do that thing right now, but I'd rather scroll my phone. I'll just scroll my phone now, because this is nice, this is fun, this is making me feel good, or I think it's making me feel good. I can sort my clothes for work in the morning. I can pack my lunch tomorrow. Here's the thing, if you are already the type of person who does that, right? And this is the part that people don't get because they don't project it. If I am the type of person who delays something in an evening to the morning, I'm still going to be that same person tomorrow morning. So it has a snowball effect, right? Oh, I'm so tired. You've sat on the couch and scrolled your phone for hours, or you've sat watched Netflix. You've done nothing. You could easily have had your clothes ironed, a lunch made for tomorrow, gym stuff packed, running stuff laid out, whatever. Done in about 15 minutes. Then you could have sat and done the phone thing or the TV thing and went to bed comfortably, smugly content, knowing that you just wake up tomorrow and everything's done. But instead, you did it backwards. I'll just do it before bed. I'll do it later. Don't go in there. Oh, never mind. I can usually hand command them not to go into that bit of water. But he didn't see me, the little shit. You think they've just learned that I don't want them in there by this point. But you didn't do it. You chose comfort. Because that was the shorter, smaller reward. And instead of allowing tomorrow morning to go smoothly, you chose to scroll your phone right now. To look at other people's lives on social media, to add absolutely no value to your own life whatsoever. You can tell I'm not a fan of this. I get social media. Do you know, I get a lot of things. I get most things. It's just they end up getting used for the wrong things. Like, social media is a fantastic tool for people to keep up with family that they don't see often. Oh, look at how their kids are growing up now. Oh, look, their family went on a lovely holiday. Look at your cousins. Look at your auntie. Look at your uncle. I can get that. But, oh, look at these complete strangers swinging on a big love seat in the Maldives, doing things that I will never do. Why can't I have a life like that? Why is my life not like that? Where did my life go so wrong that I'm not doing that? I shouldn't have kids at 21. I should have travelled. It's not adding anything, is it? Anyway. So yeah, you had the chance to pack a lunch, to pack your work bag, to put your work clothes out, to sort the kids' school uniforms, to have those bags and shoes laid out. Tomorrow morning could have gone with military precision if you had just invested 20, 25 minutes the night before, but you didn't. You scrolled, and you scrolled, and you scrolled, and you hit next episode and next episode. And you sat, and you changed position, and you moved around, and you looked at your watch, and you looked at your watch again and couldn't believe 2 hours have gone by. Now it's too late to do all that stuff. It's fine. I'll do it in the morning. Plenty of time in the morning. I'll just get up a little bit earlier. But you don't. Because tomorrow comes and you hit snooze. Then you have to prioritise. What's the most important thing right now? Well, it's not me. Can't have my kids going to school looking a mess. Can't have my kids going to school without a packed lunch. So we'll get them sorted. We'll rush around. We'll get everyone in the house stressed out. We'll start projecting anxiety and stress onto our kids and teaching them that everything's supposed to be a mad rush and everybody's got to be out of the house right now. And why are you all getting ready so slow? No, Mum, no, Dad. Why did you not get this stuff done last night? They would say, if they understood. And now you're left with you. And you got 5 minutes, you say, oh, I could pack a lunch or I could make a coffee to take in the car. Fuck it. And remember, you're already the type of person who doesn't do stuff, you delay. So you go, do you know what, I'll just grab something. And so you do. You stop at Costa, you grab a coffee. Costa doesn't just come with a coffee, it comes with a pastry or a donut or a cookie or something else. Or you go to M&S food at a service station and you grab a meal deal for your lunch. And then you think, oh God, do you know what, I didn't get a food shop at the weekend, there's nothing for tea tonight. It's fine, I'll get Tesco Express on the way home. And the way home comes and you go, oh, I can't be bothered going to Tesco. The traffic will be mad getting there, then it'll be a difficult getting home, it'll probably be busy, I'll just order a takeaway. And then you come home and you order the takeaway. And you do what you always do with takeaways, you order too much, you overeat because you can't waste it, you spent a fortune on it. Now you're sat on the couch, bloated, overly full, sluggish, tired, can't be bothered doing anything. Oh, I should really do the kids' clothes. I should really sort my work stuff. I should really pack lunches. But no, I'm too bloated and struggling, and let's just scroll. Next episode. Some of you are going to be sitting there cringing, going, oh my God, he's describing me. It's like he's talking straight to me. Because it's so common. I do it. Not as much as I used to, but I will be sat, more so recently, just with the big life changes that I'm going through. You know, it makes me less inclined to want to take care of a house, to want to be my usual prepared self, to always be on the go and all the rest of it. But it's just a temporary thing. I'll get that back soon enough. But it's normal. But it becomes a problem when it starts to affect your weight. Because not just your weight. I think we need to stop thinking about our weight as just being this thing that we carry around that makes us not feel good in our clothes. Your weight is your health. Your weight is a marker of health. A marker, it's not your whole health, it's a marker. So don't be thinking that just because you're overweight or carrying a high level of weight, you are by default an unhealthy person. It doesn't work like that. But if you are overweight, there's a high probability that you have a variety of unhelpful habits, of less health-seeking habits. So statistically, yes, you are probably in a poorer position health-wise. Like the higher... Maybe we should make a whole podcast episode about that, actually. Like, everything comes with a risk, right? Do you know how they say life is a game of risk? They're not just talking about business decisions and career decisions and financial decisions. They're talking about health decisions. In fact, they're talking about every decision. Every time you step out your front door, you are taking a risk. I don't know what the risks are for being knocked down by a car, right? But there's a risk. If you're someone who cycles, then you're taking a risk. Like, you know, you can look at the statistics for everything. How many people are in accidents each year pulling out of their driveway? How many people are in accidents each year cycling on roads? You take a risk everywhere you go, right? And that's not to turn you into a recluse. It's just to show that it can get a bit ridiculous. So every pint of beer that you drink, every glass of wine comes with a risk. You're putting poison into your body. Of course it's going to be a health risk. Every cigarette that someone smokes, every vape that someone finishes, each of these carry a risk. And it all comes down to, well, how many risks are you willing to take? How many times do you want, you know, and I know the ultra-processed thing's getting a lot of attention just now thanks to Joe Wicks, and that's good. He's drawn attention to it. It's not a negative thing. He's a borderline idiot in the stuff that he says and the disordered eating that he promotes without even realising it. Surely someone in his team must realise that he's promoting his own disordered eating all over social media. Joe, you should not be posting about your sugar challenge and how you caved and binged. But whatever. I'm sure he's got the best nutritionists and dietitians and psychologists in the world around him, but still letting him talk like that. Do you know, it's not that people with money should know better, it's people with a team around them that should know better. Like, I'm a one-man band. These podcasts are not filtered, nobody's telling me what to say. I'm not spreading misinformation, but there's nobody to correct me. Yes, somebody can send me a message and say, oh, I didn't agree with that. That's fine. But when you are a multi-millionaire who is the face, like, who doesn't run the business, who is the face of the business, who is the kind of spokesperson and the, you know, when people think of the body coach is a business with God knows how many staff. He's just the face of it. You'd think there'd be a bit more kind of careful and correct in the way that they go about it when you've got a team of experts around you telling you what to say. Anyway, we wandered well off track. Everything comes with a risk. And then it's a case of, well, how many risks are you willing to take? You know, people talk about life's too short. Life will be too short. If you keep eating to excess and drinking to excess, you're right. Life is going to be too short because you are going to have a heart attack in your 50s. Not definitely. There's a risk involved. It's a percentage. But we know from looking, and this is where things start to get untangible again, because, you know, if it was as simple as thinking, so like one of the reasons that I am so active, when I say so active, I don't mean I exercise my socks off. I'm not that type of person. But I walk a lot. I climb hills a lot. I do physical stuff a lot. It's very infrequently coming from weight resistance training, and it's more DIY, cleaning, like non-stop jobs around the house, etc. I stay fit, mobile, active, so that I have great mobility, great strength. I just watched a video of a woman yesterday who did an Ironman. Now, that doesn't sound impressive until I tell you that she was 80 fucking years old. 80. And she fell at the finish line. The finish, God knows why, the finish line was on a stupid ramp. They made people run up a ramp. Imagine getting to the end of an Ironman and being asked to run up a hill that doesn't need to be there. An artificial hill that someone put in so that people could run through a little platform. And she took 2 steps on the ramp and tripped and fell. And someone left a comment on it, and it was so ridiculously true. They said that fall would have killed most 80-year-olds in their living rooms, or at least led to various broken bones. And it's insanely true. Both of my grandparent who's still living, live in, I'm not going to say a care home because it's not a care home. I would call it sheltered housing. A community, there's probably a proper name for it, I just don't know what it is, but a bunch of flats that are small enough for a single person, or some cases couples to live. But it's like a little community, right? And you've got your buzzer to pull in case anything goes wrong. But there's a little community space, but it's not like people are coming in and, well, I suppose some people do have people coming in the system, but for the most part it's not, right? And I've been in that place many times. I remember when Jacob was a baby, obviously, like, they all love seeing babies, so my gran would be like, oh, my great-grandson's coming today, so they would all gather in the in the little community space to see the baby crawling around and goo and ga. But these people in their 70s, 60s, my granny moved there in her 60s, I think. These are people in their 60s, 70s, 80s who are very frail, who are eating very little, who aren't exercising, who aren't getting much in the way of proper nutrition. As you get older, you actually need more protein, which is a super big challenge because as you get older, your appetite reduces. So trying to get enough protein into people who aren't very hungry for it is a challenge. Obviously, 80-year-old Ironman woman's doing it though. She'll have a nutritionist, be smashing the protein shakes. That's how she just ran an Ironman. Ran an Ironman at 80 years old. That is insane. And honestly, she fell and she got straight back up and shook it off and shook her head like, oh, what am I like? Cracked on, crossed the finish line, and everybody roared. 80 years old. If I have that level of mobility and that level of strength at 80, do you know what? I'm going to record a reel about her today. It's not really my department in terms of nutrition, but it's my department in terms of, like, placing value on your later health, placing value on your later life. And coming back to the point, this is why I stay active. I think it's why a lot of people, I always think about Nikki when I think about exercise. Nikki, when I first worked with Nikki in, I can't remember, right? 2018, 2019, one of the two. I show her this regularly. Our very first post in what was the Facebook group back then, and she said, when I ask about activity level to calculate people's calories and all this stuff, she said something like, I'm never going to be an exercise person. I'm never going to be someone who actually likes going to the gym. Jesus Christ. You should see her now. I don't have anyone else on Instagram. I haven't seen anyone else on Instagram who is as consistent with exercise as she is. And what I was going to say there was that it feels like it's an age thing where your reasons for exercising start to change. Like, people get into exercise in their teens and 20s because they want to have six packs, right? They want to look like the people that they see on social media. They want to be able to take their top off when they go to Ocean Beach in Ibiza. All that kind of stuff. And then, I think, for me, from what I've seen, as you get into your 40s, you start... Yeah, you still want to feel great. You still want to have good energy. You want to feel fit and healthy and all the rest of it. But you're starting to think more about what comes later. You're spending more time around 50 and 60-year-olds. You're watching your parents get older. You're watching grandparents get older. If you're as lucky as I am, you'll have gotten to see great grandparents and things getting older as well. Or, sorry, as lucky as my kids are. And you start to see it. My granny is 70... I don't know, 2, 3, 5... No, she must be older than that. My dad was young when he had me. I'm 40, 50. She's not 80 yet. She's not had an 80th birthday. Maybe she's 79. Anyway, yeah, late 70s. My granny has been fit and active her entire life. She never drove for many years. They had one car. They had a caravan. They towed it everywhere. My grandpa took the car a lot of the time. My granny had a driving licence, but my grandpa would never let her drive the bloody car. Until he had cancer, and then he wasn't able to drive. His reactions were gone, so my granny became the driver, and my grandpa became a very proud backseat driver. I used to go on a lot of holidays with my gran and grandpa. My brother was a Highland dancer. So was my sister, actually, for a while. So I used to always get dragged to these dancing competitions, and it was so bloody boring. If you've got any... Doesn't matter what type of dancer it is, you know what it's like, right? You've entered so many dances, and the rest is just sitting around and waiting. So I would get very bored, and this was before. I think I had a Game Boy at one point, but that was about it. It's all colouring books and pencils and just being a nuisance and misbehaving. So my granny used to take me away a lot of places. That's how I started hill walking. First started climbing hills with my granny and grandpa. So they both led very fit and very active lives. And my granny's still going. My granny went on holiday to Lanzarote with my mum a couple of weeks ago. They walked for miles. I want to be like that. Anyway, this is kind of went off on a tangent. Until next time.